Live from Gloucester, Massachusetts. Podcasting around the world. You're listening to the GloucesterCast podcast, a production of Joey Shimataro and Good Morning Gloucester Media. Kick back, relax, and enjoy the show with your host, Joey Shimataro, and his crew of merry castaways. No piping plovers will be intentionally harmed in the production of this podcast.
And we're live.
Woo, baby.
Good morning.
Good morning, gang.
We have a podcast virgin, GloucesterCast virgin, Malini Basu, with us that we met kind of on a stormy Gloucester night at the Beauport Hotel.
Burger night.
At Burger Night. Yeah, one of and Malini, we are joined by, you are a 3-time Emmy-winning journalist. You've been around the country. You were born in you say Kolkata now?
Kolkata, yeah. And
you've been with Boston 25 News for the past 6 years. And we just all hit it off. You were so it was such a nasty night, and you had such positive energy when we met you that we just kind of we
just kind of connected in a way. Yeah. You guys were sitting at the corner, and someone's like, "Oh, did you see that crew up there?" I'm like, "Oh, let's go say hello to them." You guys were the loudest there, and then I was like, "I'm going to interrupt the fun, but let's just go take a walk over there." And then there we go. There we have it.
They sent you all the way up to Gloucester, and I think it was raining.
Yeah.
There was going to be a big snowstorm, and it was raining in Gloucester.
I want to know how the 3-time Emmy Award winner gets that assignment.
Yeah.
We're going to send you down in a hurricane.
Hey, we all have to get slapped in the rain and in the snow.
You didn't receive any demerits, did you?
No, it's funny. So they actually thought we were going to get a lot more, I guess, intense weather that night. Remember at the high school a few years ago, what happened? So all right, let's just go there. And so the best we could really come up with is find this fun crew that was sitting there on burger night. So we stopped over and we're like, hey, so what is it like here normally? Because I guess when the flooding happened the last time, I wasn't there for that. And you guys gave the best descriptive answer, made it fun. I mean, listen, I'm so glad that we stayed connected. And first off, I want to say thank you guys for having me, feeling so honored. I couldn't have done any of this, all of what you just talked about, without the good people around me. I mean, it doesn't come easy. It really doesn't.
You know how that is, right, Joe?
Not on her level. We don't know what it's like on her level. We're just a bunch of hacks over here.
But she appreciates the people around her.
No, that's true.
People mind 3 times. First time we've had an Emmy winner on Good Morning Gloucester.
No, we had some big guests, but she's just certainly right up there. What I'd like to know though is, you were born in Kolkata. How old were you when you came to the United States?
Yeah, so as crazy as it sounds, I came here when I was a month and a half old.
Okay.
Yeah. So my mom and my dad, they used to go visit their parents back in Kolkata. And so here we are, like, all right, we have to leave the country before she's born. And they had my brother who was 2 years old. He was born already here in the States. And so here we are. I kind of just knock, knock. Hello, I'm coming in the world. And so I was there for a month and a half. Couldn't really travel, obviously, as like a newborn. And then came here in May and then grew up right here in this house in Queens, New York.
Oh, wow, you're in Queens right now.
I'm a Met fan. She's a Met fan. I know she is.
I'm going to get in trouble if I really say what fan I am. Next question.
Coming to America, wasn't that Queens?
Yeah.
Quick.
So wait a second. Is that a kind of a unwritten rule for news journalists and stuff? Like you don't really give away like what your hometown teams are or who you root for because you don't want to.
You know what's going to happen? I'm going to get these nasty comments in the right saying, wait, what? She's a Yankee fan? Oh, no.
Yeah.
wait.
You're dead to me now. Sorry. Yankee fan.
Yeah.
You've covered some incredible stories, and the little bit of time that we've known you, I follow your Twitter account, and it seems like everything that you do, the way you cover it with so much empathy and compassion. One of the stories, Frank Sharp, where a 71-year-old veteran. Can you tell us a little bit of the story? Because this, I think, like the way you handled this, and then what's really nice is at the end of the whole story, what happened. So take us through and the end result.
Yeah. So Joey, we, every day we cover stories, right? And so it's easy for us to be in and out of a story. But sometimes when you meet these people, you can't just walk away from this story. So I met Frank Sharp. It was a protest, so to speak, for people that were getting evicted from their homes at no fault of their own. Frank was paying his rent. He's a Vietnam veteran. He was paying his rent the entire time. I think it was like close to $800 or something. And so the landlord, obviously, according to Frank, wanted to kick him out because, hey, we're raising the rent to like $1,600 right now. And Frank's like, I can't afford it. I'm like 71, 70, I don't remember how old he is right now, but he's an older man. I can't afford it. He's there making his voice heard in front of all these people. And all of a sudden you see him just kind of choke up. I'm like, oh man, I can't just walk away from this one. And so we just kind of had this instant bond. I was like, Frank, we're coming over tomorrow and we want to talk to you and we want to see what it is that you're going through. And so like many of us, right, you'll see it and you relate to it when you're actually inside of their home. And so, covering that story and putting it out there on social media. And I got to tell you, we had the governor's office follow our story. We had an incredible donors, I should say, that pitched in. Someone pitched in $1,500. I mean, it was unreal what the power of social media could do. Frank was in tears. He's like, how when he talks, sometimes he gets so overwhelmed. Like, how do I help these people? And he's in tears. He's like, I can't believe people are doing this for me, all for me, really? His little accent is the cutest thing. And so, he's so thankful. And so every now and then I'll check in and say, I'm gonna have to tap into for this rent money right now. So he plans on actually finding a new place. I know he liked one place, and I don't know if he's gonna move in there in May or not. I actually have to check in with that. But he was beyond thrilled for that. I mean, this is a man who has nothing. I mean, walking into his apartment, you would say, oh, you just got to go in there and help. But we have such good people in Massachusetts. They saw it. They didn't even wait a second. Within I think 30 minutes, there was I think $5,000 to $8,000 that was raised.
It's amazing. It's such a great. That's those are the things you really must hold on to. You've really been all over the world. You spent some time in San Salvador, and you went to. I did a little bit of research, so I looked at some of the videos. That video in that jail, the murder capital of the world.
Yeah.
There's no place that there's more murders per capita than this place. And she went into this jail with these gangs. These gangs have factions in Chelsea in our area,
Boston,
Boston and stuff. And she went down there. I don't know how you walked into that. What was that like?
Oh my gosh. So as we're sitting here talking about it, I'm still getting chills. I'm like, oh man. Oh. So first off, I got to say, look, again, I had good people around me. My photographer that went with me, Jason Solowski, we had the Boston Police Commissioner, the Chelsea Police Chief, and the other detectives that went with us. Oh my goodness, we couldn't have done it without the captain, without Connolly, everybody, Brian Kais. Oh man, it was so scary walking in there at first. You feel intimidated. So literally there was, first thing when you walk in, it was this stench of,
you
walk in there, you got to have game face on, right? The one thing is, be conservative. Don't try to be like, oh, hey, be conservative. Every piece of skin was covered. I wore, leggings top to bottom, sneakers. I walk in there, you have to be very, hey, so why are you here? Why are you in here? A lot of them did not speak English. And the ones that did speak English, we got to ask questions like, so how many people did you actually kill and why did you do it? And so I want to backtrack and just tell you why we ended up going to San Salvador. So there was probably, so I've been there for 6 years. So for 4 summers in a row, hey, Malini, you got to go into East Boston, go to Chelsea. So there are body parts that were found in the marshes. And they were like, not adults, but they were still like, 13, 14-year-old children that were killed. The saddest part is, why? Why does this keep happening? They're only 13, 14 years old. So come to find out, the parents in El Salvador, the only way out to come to this country is through these gang members. So like parents will pay them like, whatever they said, $5,000, $10,000. Take my child, please just keep them safe. Nope. Whatever happens throughout that deal, and then these teenagers end up dead. So it was just so sad to see, talking to some of these aunts, these mothers who were supposed to care for their child coming here for a better life. We had to do something. We wanted to get some answers. I mean, this isn't the way it should be. You should be here to have a college education. You want a new life. You're an immigrant. But walking in there, to go back to answer your question, oh man, that was the scariest thing ever. But I will say, they were very respectful, as crazy as it sounds. They were extremely respectful. And I think that they all got a talking to in that jail cell beforehand. And there were tons of guards around us ready to do what they had to do. But before walking in there, we had like a 30-minute briefing, like saying like, look, I just want you to know the type of background these people are. And so having that education helped a lot. And so check this out. As we have our cell phones, right? So there is a 2-mile radius. There's a tracker where no one can use their cell phones. The only person that can use their cell phone is for like an emergency purpose, like, pretty much the person who is running the jail over there in case there's an emergency. And so there's a lot of gang members that we don't know about, people that were running the city buses, to somebody walking on the street. I can simply ask, hey, can you tell me how to get to the corner coffee shop? That's just a gang member I spoke to. I don't want to mess with that person. But just walking through the jail itself, you have probably, so when you first walk in, you have like the really, older part of the jail where, like the walls aren't painted as much. Oh man, they're crammed in there like sardines. Those are the newer gang members. So in the video, they're like these yellow walls. Those are the newer ones that just went in, maybe in the last like 3-4 years is what I mean by newer. So you can only imagine how long they're gonna be spending time. Walk around, and then you get into like the bigger part of the jail, which is, pictures I've also posted. You have like maybe 200 guys crammed in one cell. Okay. So here we are. It's breakfast time. All right, guys, get up, ready to go. If I'm better than you, I can get your food. So you don't have breakfast for the day. You won't get food for the day. That's where they eat, sleep, do their business. And that's just how life is. And that's a newer part of the jail. It's unreal. If I would do it again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just have one question. When we get together and we talk about stories and everything, it could be over a couple of drinks, as maybe you saw, and doing some different things. This story and on your other stories that you've done, is it a lot of it your idea, or is it brought to your attention? Do people call the 1-800 let's ask, or how's it start for you?
Yeah. So people do send in stories all the time. They send in stories, and then you have the investigative unit and things like that. I will say a lot of these stories, especially this El Salvador one, I am beyond lucky to have the best police contacts, to have people that are so good to me, that trust me enough to go. So going to El Salvador wasn't like, oh, hey, this is your tip. No, it's not even like that. It was through the good police contacts that I have. I mean, I couldn't have done it without the Chelsea police chief, Brian Kai, the Boston police commissioner, Willie Gross, and Scott Connolly, Keith Houghton, and of course my photographer, Jason, that went with me. So that's something we talked about for a couple of months. Are you ready to do this? Do you want to do this? Yeah, I want to do this, because why is this happening? It was a story that, after seeing all of this, after seeing the parents struggle, crying every day, just why did this happen? You just want to know why. You want to get these answers. So a lot of these stories that I've been doing are coming through my contacts. It's coming through me staying in touch with people. When I walk into work every day, guys, let me tell you something. I don't expect, all right, where am I going? What's my story? No, I hustle every day. Because I want to make a difference in the story, not just cover the next fire. I don't mean to sound like, you don't want to cover the fire. No, absolutely not. You want to make a difference in someone's life every day. You want to help in any way we can.
I have a follow-up question to Jim's question. Do you ever see any backlash from your investigative, especially with this type of investigative reporting, going to El Salvador, meeting with these people, coming back, breaking the story, and then seeing that they have that outreach this far away from El Salvador? Do you ever get any death threats or any backlash, or you got to watch your back, stuff like that?
It's funny you say that. So initially I had gotten some requests, on my personal Facebook page, and I was a little leery about it, not knowing, okay, this person doesn't look right. This person doesn't, when I do my stories, I try so hard to be very transparent, and I try to be very fair. Okay. I even try to go into the person's mind. Let's just say hypothetically, the person sitting next to me is the gang member. Why? What is it that made you do that? At the end of the day, I don't care what anybody says, it's like the yin and the yang, right? There's a little bit of good and evil, and there's a little bit of bad and evil, right? So I think you do have a heart at the end of the day, but what happened to you and what that trauma is in your head, I will never know, and I don't really need to know. But I did get a couple of requests asking about, why El Salvador, and because this is where it's happening. But I will say throughout the entire time, I was extremely protected. And again, it's through obviously the station, and also through, the police officers that we went with and everybody else. So I
want to mention some of the things that you've been involved with. You were on the front lines during the George Floyd protests in the Brockton rioting. You were hit with you and your cameraman. What's his name again? Because we met him.
Mm-hmm.
Jason?
His name is Chayton. Chayton Lafferty.
Yeah. And he had some nice things to say about you all. He said, out of the 1,000 or so reporters that I've worked with over the years, Malini.
I didn't pay him to say that. I swear I didn't pay him.
That was very sweet. Very sweet.
That was really sweet. Yeah. We worked every single day during the pandemic, almost every single day. And I mean, it's like you're sitting in a car with a married couple every day, and it's like, you want to, right? But no, I'm lucky, I couldn't have done a lot of these stories without him, without the other photographers. So I'm so lucky. He just, every day, whatever assignment it is, let's just go, let's just get it done. So I'm a lucky girl.
So you were hit with tear gas, rocks, and bricks during that coverage. You covered the Aaron Hernandez sentencing for the murder of Odin Lloyd, and reported on Hernandez's death. You covered the, I don't know how to say the Sarnev. How do you say the?
Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good luck with that. The sentencing. You report. This is one that I saw that you reported on the kidnapping of a young girl and was instrumental in her safe return to her family. That must stick out in your mind a little bit.
Oh man. So this was back in my Houston days. We were in this area. It was in Magnolia, Texas, and so there was it's a trailer home. And so this girl was only 13. She was 13 years old at the time. And so her father had let in a friend of his that this is what the family, this is what the police investigation is. They had let in a friend of his to live in the house because he lost his job. He didn't have a place to go. And then after a couple of weeks, where is our daughter? Our daughter's kidnapped. And so as we're all reporting on it, all of the stations across, the Houston area, Mom and I had this connection, and she just kept coming back to our live truck. I was with Sergio Soto. He is one of the best photographers of Houston. I love that guy. And he's like, hey, he used to call me Basu, like, we got to do something to help this woman. She kept crying and saying, I don't have anybody to take me. Initially, she had her aunt or somebody she could borrow a car to go to the Mexican border to get her daughter. She didn't. And then as we're getting ready to wrap up our 6 o'clock live shot, she comes back again and she's like, can you help me in any way? She's like in tears, crying and begging for help. So I called my news director at the time, Philip Bruce, and I said to him, Phil, this is what's up. What do we do? And he's like, let me call you right back. 2 minutes later, he's like, pack them in, let's go, we're going. And so we went in the car, and we just drove for about 8.5 hours that night to the Mexican border. And we got there that was actually kind of scary, because when we got there, my photographer Sergio was grabbing some video, and I remember there were these 4 guys in a white pickup truck. I was just kind of like looking around. I was like, oh, just kind of seeing what it's like in the border town. And as I jumped out of the car, and the guys just asked a question like, hey, do you know which way to go for this? Did you see the sign? And stupid me, I said, oh, I just kind of walked up thinking, I think if you make a left. And all I hear is, so you're saying, Basu, get away from that car, get away from that car. I'm like, oh my God, like, I was like, because I was like, I wanted to help somebody. Right? And so, oh man. So, any case, the next morning, she was finally dropped off at the police station, and mom, 13-year-old, and we took a flight back that next morning together, and we had these nice conversations talking about, you got to move on from this. Of course, she went through so much trauma, as you can only imagine what could have happened to her. She's 13 years old. And if you guys have any teenage daughters out there, I mean, look, just dad is their best friend. Dads, just be there for your daughters. That was really something. I mean, I couldn't be happier just to see this girl with her mom in her arms. Can you just imagine 13 years old, what it's like to go through that? And so, yeah, we flew back. And I remember one of the first things that she wanted when we landed was, she said, hey, is there any way we can get Taco Bell? I'm craving a chicken soft taco. I said, let's go. Let's get it done. So we had another photographer waiting for us in the back end in Houston. And, I couldn't be, I couldn't be luckier to have the good bosses in Houston to allow me to do those things, because, that's a family. I know it sounds like, oh, it's one family, but no. It's a family that you will always remember for the rest of your life.
You remember them, but do you separate yourself from that afterwards? And I mean, obviously go on with your reporting, or do they remain to keep in touch with you at certain times? Or
so that story, that's always going to stay with me. I did kind of, like, we haven't spoken in a long time to the family, because obviously I've been here in Boston. To piggyback off of that, actually, there is one family right now, I will tell you, that pretty much every single day still calls me, checks on me, and says, how are you doing? So you remember the Tundra Museum story, the Roxbury store clerk that was shot?
Yeah. So your last assignment.
Yeah. So back in July, when this story first broke, one of my really good contacts says to me, hey, you need to look into this more. It was a Bangladeshi kid who was just working to support his family, ends up getting shot in the head by this gunman. Okay. And the family, I found out, speaks Bengali, and they don't speak a lick of English. And here you are, they're living in the poor villages in Bangladesh. And you can only imagine what it's like living in those areas. They don't speak a lick of English. And someone helped me get in contact with the mom, and I was able to translate everything for her. And that's one family that has kept in touch with me every single day, because, lucky enough to help them come here. This was all thanks to reaching out to the embassies like crazy, reached out to Senators Elizabeth Warren and Markey's office. They were so awesome. The governor's office, everybody helped any way they can to get them here. And they were able to be here to see their son on life support. So that was, we still keep in touch every day. She calls me. Actually, you just saw the story we did last week. And then I learned so much more about him and stuff. Obviously, she didn't really, it was just so hard for her to talk about. It's life. I'm telling you, everybody has a story to tell. We're all sitting here happy right now. We're good, but everybody's got something going on in their life. Guillermo back there is probably burning right there in his chest. He's got his. But
I brought that one home. I hate to be him right now.
I was just so proud of all your Emmys, and now I'm going to go and knock them off the shelf.
I have a question for you. Here at Good Morning Gloucester, we have a lot of bloopers. And I'm curious, what is the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you while you were live on air?
Oh man. Okay.
That you can share.
No. I could definitely share this. Yeah. Okay. This was back in my Providence days. Okay. This was early on in my reporting. Okay. Very early on. And I remember we were live at a school. Okay. We were live at a school, and the story was about, oh man, this is so many years ago. But anyway, the principal during my 6 o'clock live shot comes yelling and screaming because we're on their property. I'm just like, whoa, it was live. And I just kind of froze for a moment. And the most embarrassing thing, the person I was working with just walked away. So back to live truck, and I was like, oh my. I'll never that I will never forget. But other than that, I think the most embarrassing thing sometimes is, when I first moved to New England, now going back to my Providence days. So I've spent now about, 10 years. 10 years of reporting in New England, from Rhode Island to Connecticut to Boston. I think sometimes seeing these towns, I had a hard time. I had a couple of emails saying, hey, lady, it's Worcester. All right, that's how you pronounce it, Worcester. Then you're a Worcester. I'm like, what is that? Or like, people, how do you say, it's Stoneham? I'm like, no, people told me it's Stoneham. It's not Stoneham. Like, are you just busting my chops here? What are you doing?
What about any Freudian slips?
Yeah.
Like Howard Stern makes a career on taking news and like news reporters like yourself, and when they follow up while they're speaking, because everything's like live. So I mean, any major follow ups? Do you get fined for that? Any demerits?
I think, you know what, for the most part, I think I could hold my tongue back pretty good. I think I could. I may be thinking a lot. Oh God, I'm just gonna keep quiet. It's like my mom and dad always used to say, if you have nothing to say, then stay quiet. And then it came along with, they would twist our ears when we were kids. Did you hear that? We're doing it again. I'm like, okay. All right.
Thank you.
Oh,
yeah. But let me go back. I'll tell you a really funny story, okay? About my brother. When we were 13 years old, okay? Quick story. We were 13 years old. My mom and my dad were like, all right, Neil, what's up? You got to get better in math. So we had the dean of our school, okay? He was also extremely excellent in math, excellent. So he came for tutoring one day. My brother found out. He got so mad. Why? Why is Mr. Skolnick coming? Why is he coming? And he got mad and he cursed at my mom. My mom said, what? She took a broom and she was getting ready to beat his with it. He ran out the door. Mr. Skolnick comes in the door. Good morning, Mrs. Basu. Where's Neil? Oh, Mr. Skolnick, you don't understand. He was being so hard on me. Oh, then my brother comes in. Hi, Mr. Skolnick. Good morning. Is there a problem? No problem. Nothing happened. No, nothing. And do you know, when my brother graduated from his residency school, where he did, after his medical school, I had a surprise guest. My brother, dude has a drink in his hand. He's got like a Bacardi Coke in his hand. He drops it like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe my sister just found this man. Like, till this day, he was so scared of him still.
That's a great story. That's a great story.
Like,
I have one other question. News today is not what it used to be years ago. And I just wanted to get your opinion, regardless of what side you're on. It's so hard to believe what's being reported these days. And I want to know if you have any advice for those of us who are trying to get, fair and balanced news, real news, not fake news. How does one navigate, the daily news cycle today?
Right. So, I got to tell you, so every day I read, right? I have to read the newspaper. I myself have to find out what is real and what is not real out there. So the best thing I tell people is you have to go with who you trust. Who has been there for a while? Who do you trust? Are they just looking for ratings? Are they looking for just a quick fix or, a good story? You have to have your own judgment more than anything. You guys have been around for a while, so you have to have your own judgment, and you will know genuinely who cares and who doesn't care. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
You go with your own judgment, because listen, your flavor could be, Fox, your flavor could be NBC, your flavor could be, because everybody has a different feel to their newscast, right? And so, some stations like to pump it up and, put a little bit more. It's just what you like. It's just your feel for what you like.
It always amazes me if you put on Fox News and then CNN News, you would think that we were living in two different countries.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is going on here? It's like
that's the world we are in right now.
Yeah. And
jokes between the like, do they say like one is like the graveyard station. One station is like the like you said, pump it up station, and the other one's kind of middle of the road for local news. Is there any inside jokes between the
You can't
stations?
put her on the spot.
Well, she-
No. I think, listen, it's what you like. And it's like, what Dr. Fauci always says, right? Let's just say he's the one running one of these stations. He's going to run it the way he wants to run it, right? And then all that white noise, whatever, you follow what you want to follow.
Yeah.
You follow what you want to follow. Now, there's some, stations that may try to do more for ratings, of course, but at the same time, you might like Channel 7. I might like Channel 5, and Guillermo back there might like 25, and it really depends on what you like. And
there's a reason why I asked that question. I was in radio, and that's the way it was with radio. They said, well, you start off at this station when you're still a little wet behind the ears before you get bumped up to the next place, and then once you're in the know and you're like in the zone, and then when it's time to be put out to pasture, they kind of move you over to another station. And so that's basically what I was getting at.
Okay. No. So I'll explain something to you. In the television world, there are 210 designated markets. Okay. So with that, like 210 being like Tyler, Texas, tiny. And so in the news world, reporters have to move up by, like, for example, I start off in Plattsburgh, New York, excuse me, market 90. And there was nothing but farms next to me. And like to get to a store, it was like 5 miles.
Yes.
So,
Guillermo.
you started, oh, really? Oh, really?
No,
Be careful what you say about Plattsburgh.
No, I'm not from Plattsburgh.
Just about. You might as
Just
well be
about,
from
yeah.
Plattsburgh.
I know the area, and I know what you're talking about. That if the cows came down the other side of the hill, that's when you got the TV station. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. And like the coolest place in town was the local Walmart, where the Canadians used to come down also and shop at the Walmart because it was so close to the Montreal border. Yeah.
Well, at least you had Montreal.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Oh, that was fun. Oh, that was fun. It was just like a 45-minute drive. It was right there, St. Catherine Street. I'd do it again. But in the TV world, what's that?
Demerit. You just got a demerit.
Now he's having his back waxed.
So
You move up in markets, but to answer your question though, you do move up. You move up in markets, and usually when you're in the top 10, people like to stay. It's a big city, right? For example, you have, Boston is I think market number 9 now. Then there's Houston, LA, New York. So you move up. Once you get to a top 10 market, you pretty much want to stay, or either you move on to the next level of your career, which would be network. But that is something where you're traveling all the time. You're never with your family. So in this case, I love Boston. Love Boston. I've been so lucky. I can't even tell you, if I didn't have these good people around me, I wouldn't have done it. But in this case, family. My family is in Texas. Everybody is there. My brother is there. My uncles, my aunts, my cousins, everybody. Here in New York, I will share, this is the house that we grew up in. And I left Texas because, as I was saying, my dad was sick at the time. And I said, look, I got to come back. I got to be that daughter to take care of my dad. And I'm so thankful that I was here throughout that process to do that commute back and forth. And then Texas, that's where everybody is. And I'm coming home.
Texas is fun, man. Texas. I had a great time in Addison, Texas. My best friend moved to Addison, Texas, and it's so different than here. It's like a
culture shock.
Culture shock. I love the architecture because the land is so cheap because there's so much land that they can put the money into the buildings, and they have these incredible restaurants that they're like museums. You're like, holy Jesus, and it's just
I mean, check it out. You have all these car companies, all these major companies now moving to Texas. I mean, look, Austin, Tesla. You have HP. You have all these companies that are moving there. It's huge. I gotta say this, Joey, though. So remember, when I moved to Houston, all right, I remember I was walking into the gym and this woman's like, oh, it is so hot today. And I was just like, who are you? Why are you talking to me? Because us New Englanders are kind of like, we just go about our business, do our thing, right? And everybody was so nice and friendly. And I was like, all right, I got to get this little coat shoulder, New England off of me and just, hey, good morning. How's it going? And so it was a culture shock at first, for sure.
No doubt. So you've been willing to move around. You've obviously worked in all these different markets. Is that part of your desire to move up in your career, and is that essential for a young person in the that wants to be someone like you to be willing to take those jobs around the country?
Yeah. So when you first start off as a reporter, you definitely have to be willing. You have to be willing to move around. It's kind of like anything. Like you can't just, here I am, intern day one at your radio station, and then me expect to take your spot, Joey. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. Or take Scott's space. No, it doesn't work like that. Just like anything, you have to work for it. Nothing was ever handed to us. So that's just my expectation. My expectation was always, I just need to work harder and I need to get to bigger and better things. But at this point, like I was saying, at some point you're just like, all right, you really don't want to move around anymore. You're just kind of done with it. A lot of people either stay where they are or they move on to other career paths. So in this case, for me, this is about family. I couldn't ask for anything more. I'm going to be an aunt. I get to be with my family. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where it's really what you want at the end of the day, because just like us, anybody, we're going to keep chasing our careers. But then it's like, wait a minute, when are you going to be on cruise control and really just think about your family?
I like that. I love that idea. Yeah.
What would you say to somebody that's aspiring to be a journalist in the same position that you are? What advice would you give them to kind of get started and propel that forward?
Yeah. You know what? To be very honest with you, work hard every single day. Work hard, be humble. Don't act like you know it all. Make friends. The biggest thing is, just like in any business, you need to have a good support system around you. You want to be around like-minded people that will help you get further. And don't let all that, chitter chatter around you. Don't fall for any of that, because that's easy, right? I'm sure you guys get it too. Like, hey, Joey, why'd you ask that dumb question? Or, no, just like, whatever, man, Yeah. Or why'd you do that Guillermo back there, hiding his chest. No.
No, it's true. Something that it's interesting because, we try to support a million different organizations in town and share all positive news. Yeah. And, you can hear 1,000 thank yous, and if the one negative comment that comes in, you can get hung up on it. Oh. And I have to remind, especially Chris just came on board last year and stuff, like someone writes a negative comment to one of his posts or something, and he loses it. I'm like, dude, we walked through town last week, and there was 30 people stopped us saying, thank you for what you do. Yeah. You can't hang on this one person that's the troll that's living to try to derail you.
Right. No, you really can't. I mean, listen, look, what you guys do, you have so many people listening to you, and you have all these young people also aspiring to be like you guys. You can't. I mean, listen, there's so many other important things going on in the world, right? There's so many other important things. Go find something else to do, something else with your time. You can't fall for that stuff. That's the one thing I will say. Have an outlet. A lot of people that are starting off in this business, I would definitely tell them, have an outlet and have a hobby, because just like any job, you can definitely get just, you're so invested in it and you want to do better. You want to do more. Yes. But listen, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time. So the biggest thing is, like I said, stay humble, have good people around you. Family is everything. I could not have gotten anywhere if it wasn't for the support from my family. Because look, I'm Indian, right? They're so used to the whole doctors and lawyers, and here I am. Well, I want to be a journalist, And so if it wasn't for my, for my family, for the contacts, the good people, good friends around me, you need to have that support system. Don't fall for that one negative comment. Who cares? Let it be. They have nothing else better to do. Look, I've gotten comments about, about, like I said, the wrong pronunciation, or why did you say that straight, or just listen. All right, just say, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm moving on right now.
Yeah.
We have balls in your court at that point.
We didn't. I would be remiss.
Yes.
I would be remiss. I would be remiss if we didn't ask you. All of our podcast versions, we ask a two-part question. So, and it's this is
El Salvador.
Yeah, it's in Salvador. I know. Say you're in San Salvador, in the jail, and the warden comes to you, and this is his question to you. It's a two-part question. We call this the death row sub and the death row meal. The warden comes in. He says, tomorrow you're going to be executed. I can get you a sub from any restaurant on anywhere, but it has to be at a restaurant, not your mother's cooking. So where's what's the order and what plate establishment is it coming from?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
You really want to know?
Yeah. Don't say Subway.
Don't say McDonald's.
All right. So it's got to be a sandwich, right? It can't be sushi. It's got to be a sandwich. I want Jersey Mike's.
Jersey.
Oh,
hey, that's the
Jersey
second time in 1 week we got Jersey Mike's.
I have a gift card for Jersey Mike's.
You have one around here?
Yeah.
Are there Jersey Mike's?
Over by the Liberty Tree Mall.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to try it out.
Jersey Mike's open, to be honest with you.
What was the sub, though? What was the order?
Yeah.
Okay, so the order, so I have two, all right? How about I do half and half of a sandwich, okay? I want to get half of the turkey provolone, okay? And then the other half I would like is the chicken cheesesteak. It's like boiled chicken with all the cheeses on it, and it's really cheesesteak, and it's like warm, with the mushrooms in it. Oh, it's good.
She gets an Emmy for being the most descriptive.
It just melts in your mouth. And then for the turkey problem, Mike's way. Yeah, I want it Mike's way. Can you make sure you put that like the oregano a little bit more? I want those little peppers, spicy. I'm into it. I like it hot, you know.
All right, part two, death row meal. Any restaurant, anywhere. What's the order and what's the meal? Where's it from?
Okay, all right. You know what? Oh, you ready for this one? Ooh. Do you guys know Mastro's in Boston? It's on Providence Street. Oh my God, their pizza. Oh, really? Man, I'm craving it. I think I have to like literally make a trip up there now and finish packing my house.
Yeah, across from Mass General.
Yeah.
Mastro's. No. This is one on Providence Street. This is right behind. The Beantown Pub right behind it.
I went to.
It's like that little alleyway, Marlier. Oh my goodness. His pizza is Napolitano pizza. The seal itself is people came in from Italy, verified that's Napolitano. Oh man, you guys are missing out. Oh man.
That's watering.
A road trip.
I gotta tell you.
Since we're speaking of food and you being Indian, I love Indian food. My daughter actually works at Taj. I don't know if you had a chance to visit Taj here in Gloucester, an Indian restaurant opened up, owned by the Serenity Group. They do great work. But I'm curious what your favorite Indian restaurant is and what your favorite Indian meal.
Okay, so I'm gonna be very honest with you. Indian restaurant, I'm gonna say, is right here in this house. Is my mom's Indian cooking.
Good answer.
That's the correct answer.
It's the only answer.
I'm gonna tell you why. So we're health freaks in this house, and so my mom can substitute a lot of the Indian restaurants. They use the heavy cream and the butters and all this stuff, and so. You know what? I toyed around actually last night, and I was like, let me make a chicken. What can I put in it? I put all these ingredients, and my mom's like, whoa, easy on this. We don't use heavy cream, so you can substitute the yogurt. You can put a little bit of a tomato, the coriander. Oh, man. My mom's like, I'm not cooking for you anymore. That's you getting in that kitchen. So you can have fun with it, a healthy way. And a lot of times we don't we don't do the fried foods and stuff like that. Indian, we use a lot of oil, the fried foods. So we stay away from that. And the beauty of what you can do with just, with just a little bit of 2% milk with yogurt. Ooh, you getting hungry or what for breakfast?
Yeah. Joe loves using yogurt.
Who's in favor?
No, I had a
who's
whole
in favor of bringing her on for cooking with Basu? Cooking with Basu.
I could call her by her last name.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing.
You're on a last name basis already, Jim?
That's a demerit.
You're not going to have one piece of body hair left, are you? Keep this up.
Hey, I wanted to go back to Masters real quickly. I'm going to tell you how I actually stumbled upon this restaurant. Okay, so during the protest one day, oh man, no one was open. Desperately, I after all the coffee you're drinking, you're running around. I stopped. I'm like, can I please use your bathroom, sir? I really have to go. Restaurants weren't open at the time. And I was like, wait a minute, I want to actually try his food one day. Oh man. And the story behind how that place opened up, that's another one. He came here, immigrant from Italy 7 years ago, opened up the place on his own. Just his storyline itself just made me appreciate the restaurant, the food even more. So if you guys ever get a chance and you go there, Marco Caputo is his name. You got to just give it a shot.
I've been there. It is fantastic. As a matter of fact, I think Ralph said that was one of his favorite restaurants.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, it's a great place. I see that's a Wouldn't you say that that's a special night out kind of place?
That place, it could go both ways. I think it could go both ways because there's this outdoor patio. You know where Maliniev is, right there, that little alleyway. It's literally just across from it. So you have the Boston Common. So you got to kind of, there's Downtown Crossing. It's literally a little vicinity. I wouldn't really say no. I mean, it's not like a Davio's where you're going in there to get dressed up and or you're going on Federal Hill. Everybody's like the kind of mayor walking around with your little heels and stuff. No. I walked in there with my Brooks sneakers. We're good.
Brooks sneakers, nice, Brooks.
So I'd like to ask you this question because I don't know. The interesting thing is, you worked and there's so many reporters and stuff like that, and you're moving on and stuff like that. Like I feel like we're honored to be able to have this time for you to reflect.
Absolutely.
And Boston 25 can't dedicate an hour to you as your send off. But I feel like we got some time here to.
I'm honored. No way.
We want to make you cry. We want to make you cry. I love you, Boston.
Yeah, we have scripts if you want to cry.
Are there any people that you like that over the course of the last 6 years in this town that you'd like to give a shout out to?
It could be us. It could be us.
There's so many. Yes, exactly. You guys. There's so many. I got to tell you, I am so lucky to work with these amazing group of people. And I'm not just saying it like, oh, your typical little political ones. No. So I work night side, and every day our crew, I got to tell you, it was a hustle every day, from breaking news to it was a hustle. The one thing I will say is I will say that if it wasn't for my police contacts, I was saying I could not have been where I am today. Starting southbound, going up from the Attleboro police chief, who I've known from 10 years ago, who helped me and introduced me to these other police contacts. Like I said, the police chief, Governor Baker has followed my work tremendously. And I feel so honored. The governor is so busy. How do you have time to follow my work? And, follow the whole Tundrum Seum story to Frank Sharp, to all these other families. And also, Levi Goldfarb, there was this, do you remember the missing hiker? He was a Russian doctor. He treated some of the sickest COVID patients. Missing in Pakistan on one of the highest peaks in the world. And his family, there was that connection, and we were able to help get them at least a death certificate thanks to the senator's offices. So look, if I just sat here and told you one or two names, I would be so unfair, because everybody, I got to tell you, these police contacts to my coworkers, our nighttime executive producer, Mike Sullivan, has made it so easy for us day in and out in such a stressful situation. He has the world on his plate with the newborn at home. I couldn't have done it. You mentioned Chayton, my coworkers, Vern, the photographers, to Bob Goodale, the photographers I worked with. If you don't get along with them at the end of the day, you are.
Are you allowed, as a package deal, to take your photographer with you if you felt like you wanted to?
I wish. So we had this little send-off party on Thursday. Tom Cordes, my coworker, put it together, and we had some of my coworkers show up, and I felt so honored. I was like, man, it's COVID times, right? And who wants to show up to a party? Great. And then there were so many others that reached out that said, hey, you're leaving. Can we please see you? Please make the time. I'm like, oh man. So then we had this other little get together. And so look, man, I don't know what I did to these people, but I'm so lucky. And you guys sitting here with me for an hour, and to all the listeners, I'm so, so thankful for that. I don't know what I deserve it. I really don't.
Your energy is infectious. That night when we were there and you came over, for the record, she didn't eat the burger.
No.
Right? You didn't.
I don't eat meat. I want to eat turkey. I pack my vegetables. I know. I'm a loser.
No.
Your chain went down. Listen, when we got to respective rooms, right? He goes, hey, I'm going to go get a burger. You're going to come down? I was like, no, I'm good for now. I have my vegetables. I'll finish up. He's like, all right. So he hands me the laptop. He goes back to his room, comes back. Hey, you sure you don't want to get a burger? I have my vegetables. I warmed it up. I know. My egg whites and vegetables are for dinner.
we may need to seek your advice in a couple weeks. We're doing a vegan challenge for a week. Yeah, the whole GMG staff is doing a vegan challenge. So,
what do you think that on a scale from 1 to 10, how difficult do you think that's going to be for us to go like true vegan? Like no, like there's like
nothing with a heartbeat.
Nothing but a heartbeat. Is that what
nothing with a heartbeat.
Nothing but a heartbeat. That's going to be us at the end of it. No heartbeat.
Joe's afraid he's going to die.
What's that?
You have to trick your mind. You have to. You know, remember I was craving these brownies. I'm like, oh, I just want a brownie, maybe with some ice cream on top or something. So I made this brownie with sweet potato and some, some chocolate cocoa. So just an FYI, there are substitutes out there. Oh, with some maple syrup, it actually came out so good. And then there's like the cheesecake you can make with Greek yogurt.
Yogurt thing.
It's so good.
I did a whole post about how people that are telling you that you can substitute yogurt for heavy cream or what it was something for mayonnaise or something. They're liars. They're all liars.
No, a lot of the foods, to be honest with you, it tastes exactly like, for example, you want the sour cream. You can make your own little Greek yogurt and add some stuff in there to make it taste like a sour cream. You got to trick your mind.
That's a trick your mind.
Remember, what you put in is what you put out, right? You ever watch Forks Over Knives?
No.
You have to watch it.
Where do we find that?
Yeah, it's a documentary just pretty much about our foods, like grass-grown foods, from a person that had he had a blockage in his heart and he was able to reverse it by eating plant-based products. I know it sounds crazy, but
I have a blockage in my heart.
I do a lot of blockages.
Oh,
No,
mean.
So no. So
did you say apple cider vinegar, or did you say prunes? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. What?
Give me. How did you get rid of it? The prunes? Did you?
Oh no, I still have the
prunes are going to be a hack.
I'd like to thank you for being part of the team today.
Can you give us five? Give us five easy to get meals that will get us through eating vegan for a week.
All right, first off, what are some of your favorite foods?
Carrot
Steak,
cake,
steak, chicken, ribeye,
milk, egg, cheese,
ribeye.
Oh, wow. Okay, the TikTok. You guys were eating. Oh yeah, that's right. You were eating that night. That's right. All right. Are you guys Trader Joe's fans at all?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to go to Trader Joe's. They have
I'm gonna write this down.
lasagna, right? So they have, all right, so there is a little bit of carbs in there, but they have this roasted vegetable lasagna. Ooh, to die for. They have
Do they have a section that's labeled for vegans?
They have, it's everywhere. You look around, you will find everything. Yeah. Oh my goodness. You like pizza? Cauliflower pizza crust.
My wife.
Crazy. A lot of the foods you won't even know. You think you're having like the hash browns or something, but it's a cauliflower hash brown. So just an FYI, they have a lot of substitutes there. A lot of substitutes. In terms of red meat, hey, why not just substitute some beans or something? No kidding.
How about Beyond Beef? Have you tried the Beyond Beef? Do you eat?
Yeah, that stuff is so good. The Morningstar burgers. Ooh.
Yeah, I had those too. Yeah.
What are you guys writing it down? Morningstar.
We have to survive this somehow. Please. Anything, please.
So $50 wager at the end of that
It
too.
was a $50 wage. So we have $50 riding on it. That we have to donate the $50 if we can't complete it. And they have to donate $50 if.
I was gonna say the $50 wager that we're gonna spend about $350 trying to eat vegan.
Yeah, no.
I think we could do it. I think
eating healthy is super expensive, but I'm going to tell you, once you guys do this, all right, the first week is going to be a little challenging. The first couple of days will be challenging, but listen, you got to trick your mind. And once you do it and you're on that kick, you're going to say, oh, I feel better. I can actually walk up those stairs and breathe again.
Yeah. That's all I want to do is.
So if you get headaches and stuff like that, what's the go-to? Sugar rid or
drink a beer.
Just get that, yeah. The 90-calorie Michelob Ultra will do well.
Yeah, well, we can drink.
And listen, you could even make it taste like a Blue Moon. Just throw a little orange in there.
Oh, yeah.
Put that down.
That's a pro tip right there. Pro tip.
Orange.
Blue Moon,
Orange.
Yeah, you guys are so much fun.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. What's that?
Should we do a topic with her?
you want? We're going to do a couple topics. I don't know if you want to stick around or if you have to get going.
No, let's do it. Let's do the topics. Yeah, I have a few minutes.
All right. Good job, Scotty. All right.
Good job. He's moving
up that list.
You got a point. there. Okay, here's Chris's topic. I own a ridiculous amount of blank.
You have to fill in. You have to fill in the blank.
I own a ridiculous amount of blank.
Of what?
Okay. We can't say you own a ridiculous amount of money. A ridiculous amount of hats, because you're always wearing hats, all of you.
No, you. This is for you.
Oh, me. I was like you.
But you're right. I do own.
Yeah, we do. We have a whole closet.
That was more of a fill in the blank rather than the question. So I apologize for my host here.
Yes.
All right. I will say I have a ridiculous amount of jackets, because when I was doing packing, there was one closet in the spare bedroom. There's another closet downstairs. And it's like, oh, man, am I taking these with me to Texas? I mean, it does get cold there, too. It can get cold. It snowed not long ago. Yeah, I would definitely say jackets. I would say jackets and hats. Hats for sure. Because when I go to the gym, I have a hat. But with the pandemic lately, I kind of like, all right, I'll toss the hats a little bit, put them on the side. Sneakers, shoes. Oh, man. We can bring up a can of worms here.
Poshmark.
Yeah, it's crazy. The amount of things that adds up in your house, like, oh, I need another pair of sneakers. No, you really don't need that. And why do I have this new set of forks and knives and spoons and these plates? Like, what am I doing? It's like, and these wine glasses. Oh man,
those up are no fun to Yeah, I went through a divorce a while back, and one of the best parts about the divorce was the purging all the stuff that you that you accumulate.
What did you find? What I said, what were some of the things what would you say? What did you accumulate?
What my personal ones is I collect vintage grills, Weber grills and hibachis. I have a and that baseball caps, trucker caps basically, and
trucker caps.
Yeah, like the kind of like mesh caps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As guys get middle aged and balding, you tend to notice. They wear the hats.
That's only to protect
you guys, because
yourself from the sun. That glass of the sun.
Let the record say they're speaking for themselves.
He has a luxurious head of hair. Yes. What's yours?
For what? Music. I get a ridiculous amount of music.
Well, he's a DJ, so
and you had a ridiculous amount of CDs that you're actually getting rid of.
I do. So, I don't know what to do with my CDs. I can't. I have an emotional attachment to. It was a part of my life, with Bruce Springsteen and all these kind.
Actually, if I had to give a better answer than music, I would say right now a ridiculous amount of COVID masks, just different colors. You got to color coordinate. You have to.
So if you have a ridiculous amount of items, I will say, as I'm going through my stuff, and I just want to add this part of it. As I'm going through my stuff, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't just throw this away. People in Chelsea need it. So I have some friends in Chelsea that are going to be coming over. They're going to be grabbing some of this stuff, and it's going to make me feel so much better because they truly need it. I mean, being there day after day, I was like, please, I want you to have this. So I'm going to leave a little piece of me here in Boston and make good use of it. So if you got those trucker caps and you got other stuff, you know where to go with it.
There you go.
I meant to ask you earlier.
We can't blow Guillermo off over here. What's your? I have too many things.
It's the cellophane. Thank you for noticing that.
Hey, you're number one now. You were number one in our power rankings.
Well, I used to say chest hair, but that's all changed now. So now I would
say, Sally Hansen's wax strips.
That was painful to even remember that. Thank you. I would say T-shirts. I have a lot of T-shirts because, people are buying you the T-shirts. I'm a new grandpa, so I can't tell you how many I've got. I'm grandpa to that. I'm here with Stu, this, the arrow. I got them all. So I have a lot of T-shirts.
I think the question is, how many of the T-shirts actually fit at this point, right? It's like, I have all these clothes. I'm like, this doesn't fit. That doesn't fit.
Oh, you're noticing something. I'm sorry.
So with that, what you just said about this fitting and not fit, we had a question. I think it was a week ago. In your like spring cleaning, what's the rule of thumb in spring cleaning when you clean out your closet? What's the rule?
Oh,
what
man.
would you consider the rule?
I got to tell you, I think, I don't know what it is. I think I got this itch from my brother where I'm like, wait, what? I didn't wear this in 6 months. Out, go, goodbye. But now it's challenging, right? Because we haven't worn a lot of our clothes since the pandemic a year ago. So I'm like, oh, I think I can keep that. Oh, I think I can fit back into that. So like a pile of clothes right now that I'm like, I'm not going to take this with me. But no, 6 months, toss it. Not toss it, but donate it. At least donate it. People really need it. Donate it.
Is the weather going to play a factor now that you're going to Texas rather than Boston with the stuff you're going to get rid of?
Big time. I mean, the piles are so big. And I remember when I moved from Houston, the pile was like significantly smaller. So I have a lot of work ahead of me, as you can tell.
So how do I donate? Because I have ridiculous amount of wives. So how do I donate that? No, I'm kidding. And my wife, 30 years, but I do have an excessive amount of underwear. I've noticed.
Well, you're into those Tommy John underwear.
Yeah. So what? I mean, just out of curiosity, how many pairs of underwear do you think you have in your top drawer?
14.
14?
Yeah, 14.
Oh, then I guess I'm not. I thought 14 because I'm around that.
I wear two pairs a day. I shower in the morning.
Write this down.
Write
this down.
30?
No, but because I shower.
If you go vegan, you'll need new clothes at that point, right?
No.
Just saying, when you go vegan.
Hey now.
Oh, should we wear a diaper?
No, come on. Mindset.
We're gonna lose weight.
Right.
Not to ourselves.
No, I think she did.
Yeah.
To merit the whole crew. The whole crew gets a merit.
Did you mean we're gonna poop ourselves or we're gonna look?
No, you're gonna feel better. You're gonna lose weight.
Sorry.
That's where our mind automatically goes.
You're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna be walking around town. People are at that point. They're gonna say, "Wait, who's that? Who's that crew? Oh, look at you guys."
This is only for a week. This is not a lifestyle change.
Well, you never know.
Make it a lifestyle change.
We interviewed this singer, and this singer, Mike Forget.
Yeah, here in Gloucester.
Number 5 on the reggae charts around the world, iTunes radio charts.
iTunes radio charts, number 5. Over the Bridge. Over the Bridge is the name of the band. Over the Bridge is the name of the band. Mike Forget and David Campbell are the singers, and Dreamin' was their new single. Just got to throw them a plug. But we interviewed them the other night on this topic, and then vegan came up.
He's a young guy. He lost 60 pounds going vegan. And the question was like, what was it like? Why did you do it? And he goes, well, I started to do it. The first week was a little rough. Then I just kept feeling better and better and better. So I kept it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so that's my big issue is I have this huge grill collection. And what am I going to do with the grills if I don't put meat on it?
It doesn't have to be meat. You can put the cauliflowers, you can put the squash, you can put the zucchini, you can make so much. And especially since you've Weber, put the little spices in there, shake it up a little bit. There's a lot you can do.
There's that. Yeah. No
Are you hiding under that hat? You're like, next topic here.
So, okay, I like this topic right here.
Look like
do you remember? I don't know. She's probably a lot younger than us. You probably didn't have a lunchbox like we had when we were growing up, like the tin lunchbox.
I had a lunchbox. Oh man, go into that topic with the lunchbox. Oh man.
See, this is it right here. See,
really? Okay. So do you remember your grade school lunchbox?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was a Hello Kitty lunchbox.
Yes.
Hello Kitty, and my brother had a Ninja Turtle lunchbox. Yep. Went to school right here in Queens at PS 120. And all of our friends around us had these like cool looking lunches. They had the lasagnas. They had all these cool looking like Italian foods. And so there was a time where my mom would pack us like, some Indian food. We'd be like, no, Ma, that's not how it works. We can't do it. We're here. We're just going to. So then we would sometimes like, all right, fine. We'll just get a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Oh man, we were so hungry after that. And we only get like that 60 cents allowance. Like, all right, you can only go by this. But it taught us, hey, look, don't be picky about your food. There's so many people around the world that can't eat. I know I grew up hardcore, don't waste your food, don't throw this away. That's just what we had. But yeah, so we definitely had the those carrots, that broccoli, the stuff that we didn't eat from the night before. We saw it packed in there.
You open it up and the big smell goes, because Indian food smell like a distinctive smell. You got the Italian kids over there with the lasagna, and they're looking over
the big blocks of garlic.
Yeah. The battle of the spices.
Do you remember your lunchbox?
Yeah, I actually had a few. I mean, they were in rotation. My parents were very nice on getting me a few lunchboxes. I had E.T.
E.T.
I had E.T. I had Star Wars.
Nice.
I think I had the Dukes of Hazzard at the time.
Wow.
And then I also had wrestling. I had like WWF at the time. It was not WWE.
Right.
And these were all tin. These weren't the plastic ones. So when the wrestling lunchbox come out, and in wrestling you mimic what you see, it became the smash over the head with the lunchbox. So that thing got all dented up. But it was always a PB&J sandwich or a ham and cheese or something basic,
Yeah.
And with the fruit too, and the matching thermos.
The matching thermos.
Oh yeah, you got to have that.
So soup on the hot days. I mean the cold days.
Yeah.
I want to know your lunchbox. Sorry.
Whose?
My turn. Okay.
Sorry.
There's 8 of us, so I couldn't go out and get that. I was watching what my brothers and my sisters got. I got the hand-me-down. I got my dad's old work one with the metal.
Stanley, probably?
Yes, with the thermos on top. So the thing was big. I remember I had the biggest one because that's what they gave me. But
That's what she said.
We thought, maybe because you ate the most.
Oh.
My brothers and my sisters, I remember they were big into groups. So my brother had the Beatles box, and my sister was the Partridge Family, David Cassidy. When he had his own face on there.
She doesn't know who they are.
I know.
Come on.
She's got ways to look this up.
Come on, of course.
Jim also had the Betty White lunchbox.
Yeah.
I started off with Winnie the Pooh.
Oh.
And then upgraded to Charlie's Angels. I think it was my father's, and I stole it from him. And I took it to school, and I was the coolest kid for the day.
I had the $6 Million Man.
Steve
Austin. Yeah, Steve Austin.
Yeah.
I had the jacket too.
Did you really?
Yeah. Jesus. Remember those glasses? Was it peanut butter or jelly came in them? And they had the cartoon characters
jelly.
on them. You know what I found out just recently? That those, like the paint on those glasses is like poison. Like straight poison. And like every kid had them, like, give me those glasses. I collect all of them.
Yeah, and there was nothing wrong with us back then. Now everyone's
look at us. We're on a podcast.
Now I have allergies. If I drink out of it, I'm going to blow up like a balloon.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us? Anything you want to ask the podcast?
Yeah, you guys, seriously, where do you get your energy from so early in the morning?
This is a 40-ounce coffee right here.
We have a dispensary about 5 miles from here, so that helps. No.
Your energy, all of you, I mean, your energy is amazing, so positive. How do you guys find your stories every day, your podcast? How do you guys find this?
Okay, I'm going to take
That's a good question.
Let me take this because this is the easiest answer of all time. We could, how you talking about you were in Plattsville and you're this town, Gloucester, Massachusetts, has so much texture, has so much going on. We have an incredible arts community.
Yeah.
We have incredible restaurants. We have incredible beaches. We have incredible boating. We have incredible fishing industry. We have there's never-ending stories that are coming here all the time. And there's so many different facets of this town. It's easy. Like we don't have a problem. And like even just finding positive stories, we don't have to find negative stories because there's so much positive to report on. We focus on.
Yeah,
it's a blast.
Gloucester was actually established in 1623. Boston not till 1630, so we're a little bit older even than Boston.
Well, now, there's so much to do.
We want to be your first story when you move to Texas. I want to interview the four Stooges from Gloucester,
The four
Massachusetts.
vegan stooges.
The four vegan Stooges. I mean, we should be looking good by then.
You said 1 month, right? Or you said 1 year? I wasn't clear on that yet.
1 week, but I think Joe was about to say, who knows, someone might like it and keep following.
Well, you know, you never say never, right?
Yeah.
The only never things that I say is I'll never be in politics.
Yeah.
That's the only never. That's the only never that I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
You
good
might
point.
like it. And I will recognize you guys the next time we do the podcast. I'll be looking at the stick figures at that point then, right?
She loves us. She loves us. She's going to do it again.
You guys are so awesome. I love your energy. You know what? We connected from day one.
Right.
Really. I mean, you guys, were sitting there having your Tuesday. That's our cockatiel. You'll have to forgive me. You hear that? We have a cockatiel at home.
Cockatiel?
Oh, wow.
A cockatiel.
What's that?
Yeah. A cockatiel bird. Yes. Yeah. So she's saying it's breakfast time for me.
Really?
What's your mom's best friend? We have, the dogs, and you have a cat and stuff. Oh, no, we got a cockatiel in this house.
Really?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for bad weather, the Bullport, and burgers, we would have never met.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Well,
And the
listen.
slapping down her face. Yeah. You guys are so awesome. I can't thank you enough. I feel so honored for sitting here with you for an hour. It all started from that little conversation and it included this.
That's how friendships start.
That's it. Well,
That's it.
Malini, we wish you nothing but the best of luck. We will be sharing your story when you actually get to announce where you're going, and we'll be following your endeavors. I'm sure, the sky's the limit for you, obviously. And we'll be back here in our sleepy little town. Follow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you again.
Like every good program has a sign off.
Yeah.
The signature sign off. So Guillermo,
Go ahead.
Oh, really?
Hop in there, buddy. This is his move. This is his move.
Watch out for his nose hairs.
Oh,
It's
it's there.
right there.
Sorry, see, I don't know the camera. I
camera
got to
one,
teach me
camera
that.
two.
Ladies and gentlemen, no piping plovers were injured in the making of today's podcast. Maybe some chest hairs, but no piping plovers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Malini, we'll see you later.
You guys are awesome. Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.
Go Mets.
Go
Pleasure.
Mets.
And we're gonna bring in a little surprise right here. Our friend Annie Brobes, number 8 on the country charts, made this little jingle for us. Take care, Malini.
You can listen to the jingle if you like.